Good morning, one and all. Welcome to the Krishna Lite Show. I think I lost track somewhere along the line, but it's probably about the 16th week. We feature spiritual rap songs. Also, we reminisce based on the memories that this book, Great Transcendental Adventure, triggers for us. My wife and I joined the Krishna Consciousness Movement in Australia in 1970, and so we're going through some of the adventures that we had back there in the continent down under. But let's start the program with a spiritual rap song as promised. It's a foundational principle of the Bhagavad Gita that we're not these bodies, but in fact we're eternal spirit souls, part and parcel of God. I think that will be more evident after you hear these lyrics. When I look into your eyes, I see a shining soul. When I look into your eyes, I see a spirit soul. See a soul that's never born, a spark that never dies, yearns to fly back home, back to the spiritual skies. Dust you come, to dust you go, was not spoken of the soul. This body, like a set of clothes, wears out, gets disposed. Flame of light and love gives life to the machine. Candle never snuffed, subtle, sublime, unseen. For the soul there's no beginning, ending there's none. Smaller than the atom, brighter than the sun. When I look into your eyes, I see a shining soul. When I look into your eyes, I see a spirit soul. I see a soul that's never born, a spark that never dies, yearns to fly back home, back to the spiritual skies. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Throw in a few verses about the soul from the Bhagavad Gita. Dehi no shmi nyata dehi komaram yovaram jara tata dehantara praptir diras tata namoyate natu evatvam tatuna sham nantom neme janadi paham nachaivav devabhisami saravaya mata param nenam chindanti sastani nenam darati pavaka nechenam kledianti apo na society madhurastakam. The inner soul continues when the outer body ends, like flame from wood, sparks ascending, transcending dark matter, blending with the sky, invisible to the naked eye. You cannot kill nor can you die, you cannot burn nor can you fry. The soul cannot be scorched by any blaze. No water can drown the spirit, no wind can make it fade. You cannot cut another, nor can you bleed. The soul is eternal, unborn, a seed, indivisible, indestructible, forever free from birth, death, old age, and disease. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As a cloud is seated on air, so spirit supports the flesh. Take away the living force, just chemicals lying there, a corpse, naked and bare. Not a twitch or wiggle, not a subtle wink or giggle. Can't tickle it or puzzle with a riddle. Deaf, blind, mute, dumb, numb. Can't reward it, can't ignore it, can't restore it. Deader than a doornail, stiffer than a boar. Only thing to return it, burn it, bury it. Earth to earth, dust to dust, ash to ashes. Infirm body versus immortal soul. Learn the difference, conquer ignorance, make a spiritual choice. Sing out, give voice, rejoice, make some noise for the spiritual force. I say Hare, you say Krishna, Hare. Hare, I say Krishna, you say Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. I say Hare, you say Hare. Hare, Hare. I say Hare, you say Rama, Hare. Hare. I say Rama, you say Rama, Rama. I say Hare, you say Hare, Hare, Hare. Good. A little more now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now we're in for the whole mantra, okay? See if you can remember it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Hari. When I look into your eyes, I see a spirit soul. When I look into your eyes, I see a shining soul. See a soul that's never born, a spark that never dies, yearns to fly back home, back to the spiritual sky. From dust you come, to dust you go, was not spoken of the soul. Its body, like a set of clothes, wears out and gets disposed. A flame of light and love gives life to the machine. A candle never snuffed, subtle, sublime, unseen. For the soul there's no beginning, ending there's none. Smaller than the atom, brighter than the sun. The inner soul continues when the outer body ends, like flame from wood, sparks ascending, transcending dark matter, blending with the sky, invisible to the naked eye. You cannot kill, nor can you die, you cannot burn, nor can you fry. The soul cannot be scorched by any blaze, no water can drown the spirit, no wind can make it fade. You cannot cut another, nor can you bleed. Soul is eternal, unborn, a seed, indivisible, indestructible, forever free from birth, death, old age, and disease. Yet howsoever turned or tossed, the soul can never itself exhaust. Seated in the heart, beating its drum, powering everyone, brighter than the sun, the soul, superior force, lives on and runs its endless course in God's unlimited universes. As a cloud is seated on air, so spirit supports the flesh. Take away the living force, it's just chemicals lying there, corpse naked and bare. Not a twitch or wiggle, not a subtle wink or giggle. Can't tickle it or puzzle with a riddle. Deaf, blind, mute, dumb, numb. Can't reward it, can't ignore it, can't restore it. Deader than a doornail, stiffer than a board. Only thing to return it, burn it, bury it. Earth, dust to dust, ash to ashes. Infirm body versus immortal soul. Learn the difference, conquer ignorance, make a spiritual choice. Sing out, give voice, make some noise for the spiritual force. Once more with me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That officially opens up our 16th, I think, version of the Krishna Show. And we're going to invite Bhai Bobby in to read some segments here from our memoirs in Australia. But in the meantime, let me give you a heads up. We're in the pre-Janmashtami days. The holy day of Lord Krishna's appearance is only 2 days away, Tuesday, August 11th, 2020. So if you happen to be in Utah, come by to the Krishna Temple anytime after 4 p.m. until midnight at 965 East, 3370 South. There'll be all kinds of observances and kirtan and chanting. It won't be on the scale as it's been in the past years because of the need for masking, social distancing, and not having too many people congregating at one time in the temple room. But we'll do our best to make it a memorable spiritual landmark event for you. So that's this coming Tuesday in Salt Lake City. If you're not from Utah, look up the nearest Krishna temple to you and go on along there to get your spiritual fix for the whole year. Anything that you do, like chanting or taking prasadam, the benefit is amplified hundreds, if not thousands of times over on this particular day, which is just now. Countdown has begun. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, August 11th will be the special holy day of Krishna's appearance called Janmashtami. Okay, let's hear from Bhai now.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let me put this mic lower and make my book so I can read. Oops. Okay. So this is the chapter Colonization by Sankirtan from the Great Transcendental Adventure by Kormidas in Australia. The Hare Krishna Center in downtown Little Lonsdale Street was becoming a useful adjunct to the temple in St. Kilda. So St. Kilda's out by the ocean, beautiful place, but out of town. And we felt a need for something downtown. So we rented a huge storefront that had 2 levels on it. One we used for cooking and special other events, and then the others mostly for the congregation. The shop front sold books, beads, clothing, posters, purchased sky incense products. Behind the shop was a large hall where devotees regularly held a free prasadam lunchtime. Devotees who chanted and distributed magazines in the city would hand out invitation cards to any interested persons that they met during the day. So I personally remember during book distribution times, we would have the cards. And a lot of times, people we met, having spoken to them for a while, they would come and have lunch with us and speak more philosophy. After a short kirtan and a talk on the philosophy, the guests would enjoy a lunch of rice, dal, chapatis, and various vegetable dishes. Some devotees from the temple would sit and chat with the guests while they ate, answering any questions. As well as being a practical means of distributing sanctified food to the public, the successful program had also attracted some new devotees. So I believe we also got the bus there, and we would load up our double-decker bus and take people out to the St. Kilda Temple for a feast program there. The upper floors also served a useful purpose. In an area that once had been the mighty Apollo's gymnasium, Lord Jagannath, Balaram, and Subhadra had been carved. Many brahmacharis, that celibate monks from around Australia, were presently staying there, adjacent to an old boxing ring still adorned with pictures of the aging Apollo, pulling a tram up Collins Street with his teeth. So he was famous at the time. And because we were so crowded in St. Kilda, we were like 16 people to a room, the young men were staying downtown, using that as an opportunity to also be close to their book distribution area. I do remember we used to have all kind of things. We would put on a lot of puppet shows. Some pretty spectacular ones, which at some point in the future I'll describe. We also use it not just for carving Lord Jagannath, but for making a lot of the decorations that we use for the Rath Yatra festival, flags and banners and the whole covering for the Rath carts, the tapestry that covered the whole. In fact, on one occasion, we were making it one of the, I think the red covering for Lord Jagannath's 50-foot high domed chariot. When next door, the building caught fire. It was used by young people, ladies who were sewing, and they were up on the 5th floor and were trapped by the fire. So our people went out with the big giant tarp that we were sewing. We dragged it out of the sewing machine and we held it while the ladies jumped out from the 5th floor and saved their lives by falling into the canopy. So that was Little Lonsdale Street, quite an exciting place. Prabhupada was scheduled to speak at the center that night. The devotees had set up Prabhupada's Vyasa sign at the end of the expansive hall. The combined color scheme was quite striking. The Maha Mantra was painted all around the burnt orange walls in meter-high, dark brown letters. Illumination came from bright red and yellow paper lanterns hanging from the tall ceiling. Mounted on the back wall was an enormous black and white photographic profile of Srila Prabhupada, wearing his Prabhupada hat. With the side flaps folded back, he appeared like a rugged aviator. When Prabhupada arrived at the hall around twilight, it was packed with both guests and devotees absorbed in rousing kirtan. Prabhupada's golden form with lengths of fragrant frangipani garlands around his neck, looked striking against the purple and pink satin Vyasa sign. So this is made by one devotee who was a very nice artist, but he a little excessively creative. He decided Prabhupada should have something like a transport to the spiritual world, like a spaceship. So he made a Vyasa sign that looked kind of like a spaceship, and it was extraordinary colors, pink and dark lavender colored. So with all the brightly colored walls and so on, it's quite a spectacular image. When Prabhupada arrived at the hall at twilight, it was packed with guests. Prabhupada played his kartals and sang Jaya Radha Madhava, spoke at length on the Bhagavad Gita chapter 7. Srila Prabhupada returned to the temple around 9 o'clock, that means the St. Kilda place, leaving most of the devotees behind to serve a feast to the guests. Prabhupada relaxed behind his low desk at the temple as the last arati chimed the bells sweetly. So I'm in that Vyasa sign later on because it was used a lot, and I guess it is time to recover it. And so I got to cover it, but instead of pink and lavender purple, I decided to do something that I, at that time, felt was more appropriate for a sannyasi, so I covered it in orange silk with gold trim. So a lot of the pictures you'll see, that Vyasa sign is orange. And the early ones, where it was blue and pink, not so much photographed. So let's see, where do we go next? Shamananda. Shamananda is the name of the person that made that spaceship Vyasa sign. Shamananda had been commissioned also to design a grand new altar for the Melbourne temple. So Shamananda is very creative, and everything was unique. The elaborate wood and marble structure which filled the entire deity room had not been quite ready when Prabhupada arrived. However, after many sleepless nights for Shamananda and Frank, a young carpenter who had volunteered his service, the altar would be revealed for all to see. So it was like a opening moment. Previous altars usually consisted of box-shaped structures, but Shamananda had planned something completely different, sincerely trying to transform what he'd seen from pictures in Srila Prabhupada's books. He based the new design on a two-tiered frieze of molded metallic gold lotus petals. The result was unique. Some devotees assisting in the construction had described it as a space-age sci-fi baroque. Shamananda had purposely designed it with no edges or corners. Rather, everything was based on repeating serpentine curves in what he hoped would evoke a mood of somewhere between a palace in Vaikuntha and an expanding lotus flower. So the whole thing's based on a lotus and covered in gold. High up near the ceiling, at the back of the altar, would stand Jagannath, Balaram, and Subhadra. Below and between them were large, smooth, chromed pillars that resembled inverted stems of goblets. Towards the front of the altar, this is quite an amazing structure. Towards the front of the altar, amid the continuing gold lotus petals, would stand smaller Radha Krishna deities that had been installed the previous year by Srila Prabhupada. Behind them, at the apex of sweeping apricot-colored marble steps, was a small slab of marble ready for the new, larger deities of Radha and Krishna, due to be installed the next day. Shamananda anticipated Prabhupada's reaction. He was confident that since Prabhupada praised the basic box-shaped altar, that he had built last year, he would certainly like this one. So this must have been the arrival of Radha Ballabha, called because Radha was so beautiful. Like Prabhupada saw her and indicated that she was so gorgeous she attracted Krishna, and in that way they were called Radha Ballabha, so Black Krishna. At 7 in the morning, this Prabhupada stood in the temple room, and the Krishna of the devotees eagerly squeezed in closer. A conch shell blew, 3 long blasts. The white concertina doors drew back, and there it was, mystically appearing out of a fog of fragrant frankincense smoke. We had a strange idea that if we didn't thicken everything with smoke, it wasn't the proper standard. So every time you opened the doors or curtains to the altars, you couldn't see the deities because there was so much frankincense smoke burning on charcoal. At 7 in the morning, next one. Prabhupada stood motionless, with head slightly back, carefully surveying the whole scene. Madhavisa pressed Shyamananda to the front so he could be on hand when Prabhupada made a comment or asked questions. Shyamananda stood breathless, but Prabhupada said nothing. Turning, he walked silently to his Vyasa sign for Guru Puja class. So very often we were always waiting for his acknowledgement and appreciation, and he would withhold it if he chose to. So Shyamananda was devastated. It wasn't long, however, before the reality of the situation dawned on him. Since he had put in so much more work this year than last, he'd expected a proportionate response. This is what we always do. We anticipate, if I do more, I'll get a better result. In the end, everything's up to Krishna and the spiritual master. He'd actually expected praise from Srila Prabhupada. He'd become overconfident and a little proud. To dismantle his false pride, Prabhupada had decided to stay aloof, thus teaching his disciple a great lesson. Later, in the quiet of his room, then Srila Prabhupada commented privately that he liked the new altar. So those were memorable days. We didn't have that much money, although we were starting to distribute books and get some income. And we didn't have really any knowledge, and very few photographs or pictures of how things were in India. Some of us had already been to India. I'd come through India myself in 1969 and toured so many temples at that time and got an idea of Indian architecture, but there was no internet, there was no Google, even the libraries didn't contain anything. You'd go to the library and try and get a book on Indian architecture, practically impossible. And so if we did designs, a lot of time it was just simply out of our imagination. That's what Shyamananda did. He created a lotus flower altar, and they handmade everything and spent the whole night setting everything up. And when you've done that with absolute sincerity, and then your guru kind of doesn't respond, yes, you're going to be devastated. But later on, Shyamananda realized it was great mercy, and that altar stayed for quite some time. We used it. It was very nice. Everybody loved it until we finally were able to purchase the property, which is now still used by the temple. Caru was able to get a gorgeous mansion place, which had been owned by the Catholics, and that we transformed later on into a temple, more authentic in the designs. And so meantime, Radha Ballabha stayed on this altar, so you get some photographs of Krishna with his concha eyes. At first his eyes were kind of very modest, and that's why Prabhupada called him Radha Ballabha, because she was so potent. Well, he was kind of retiring. But then we heard that it was okay to put shank eyes, or conch-shaped eyes, carved out of conch shells, for festivals. We got some from India and we put them on for the festival, and now he became so powerful that when we took them off, we realized we can never take them off. So we put them back and they stayed. So now Radha Ballabha Krishna always wears his shank eyes. Okay, here's Caru back now. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.
And thank you, Vi. That was a lot of nectar. In fact, it triggered a lot of memories from me. So right after I sing this song, I'm going to share them with you. I may not even read anything, but get the place just in case. So this is from Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, our own rap version, synopsis of it. And we may also throw in some verses from the Gita itself after the English lyrics. Wait for the percussion to come in, shall we? In the Bhagavad Gita, Song of the Supreme, Krishna streams to his team member Arjuna, the cream of all the devotees. Arjuna, the things you do every day, the gifts you give, and every tasty veggie dish, offer them to me with love and see your soul enriched. A cup of water makes me smile, though I could drink an ocean. Flower, fruit, and leaf are fine, if they're offered in devotion. Keeping me in the center, your karma will never interfere, because loving devotional service is the dharma of the spiritual atmosphere. I don't play any favorites. Everyone gets what they desire. So if someone longs for me, I'm naturally inspired. Even if you mess up a time or two, I won't make any complaint. Just rise up again, and you can still shine like a saint. The undiluted souls Mahatma see reality, and feeling my protection, the flow of their affection comes to me. They sing my sacred names with voices sweet and stake their rightful claims at my lotus feet. I see, maintain, and shelter all. I am the seed of everything. I am everyone's best friend, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Arjuna, tell the people boldly, Krishna's devotee never dies. Men and women, high and lowly, everybody's equal in my eyes. Anybody who comes to me will never be denied. Bhakti Yoga will set you free. Success is guaranteed. Just think of me, become my devotee, and you will live with me eternally. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Some verses from the Bhagavad Gita. Mahatmanastu mam parta devam prakritamashana bhajanti ananyamabhisho gyatvaputam abhyam tesham sadhata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam didami bodhi yogam tam enamam piyantite satadam kirtyanto mam yatanta stridabratahana masyantasyamam nityam tasanti cha ramanti cha sarvadamam parijaga mamekam saranam bhaja aham tam sarva papibhyo moksha sanghasu chaham Patram pusham palam tuyam yome bhakti prayachiti tarishnam ashmarahama ashnami pariyatmanam yat karosi yat ashnasi yat dahosi rasi yat tapasasi kantya tad karushmararpanam. Would you like to hear some more based on the Bhagavad Gita? I can do that for you. No truth exists besides myself. Do not be misled. Everything is strung on me as pearls on a thread. I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon. I am the syllable Om, the strength of the strong. I'm the fragrance of the earth. I'm the forest fire, bright red. I'm the blazing sunset. I'm the alphabet from A to Z. I'm the seed of everything. From me, everything arises. I'm the strength of strong men. I'm the wisdom of the wise. I am the vigor of the strong, not triggered by greed or lust. Sex life comes from me, which is righteous, pure, and just. I am Kandarpa, the god of love, like Cupid with his bow. And of cows I am Sarabi, who gives milk in limitless flow. Of hymns I am Gayatri, of seasons I am spring, of months I am November, the time of peace and harvesting. The Himalayan mountains, unshakable, unbreakable, indicate me, the unlimited, endless ocean. Of vegetation I am the banyan tree. I am the Paramatma, dwelling within everyone's heart. I am the life of all that lives. I am the ending, middle, and start. I am the sacred Vishnu, and of all sorts of lights, I am the sun, stars, and moon at night. I am the wind that purifies the spirit apart from the flesh. I am the wind that purifies the spirit apart from the flesh. I am logic, pure, concise. I am all devouring death. All this is but a tiny indication. There is no end to my manifestations. Every glorious and opulent creation springs from just a spark of my radiation. What need to go on, Arjuna, with a more exhaustive list? Tiny spark of me pervades all that exists. My devotees worship me with love and think of me all the time, discussing me incessantly. I am theirs and they are mine. Because I create the dual worlds of spirit and of flesh, the wise prioritize my service, keeping their hearts forever fresh. Because they serve with love and never swerve aside, from within my heart I cause ignorance to subside. The wattage of knowledge I shine from within so bright, and in deep parental affection lead my devotees to the light. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sri Krishna, your pure charisma, your flute playing is so intoxicating, singing your song down in Vrindavan, pleasing the gopis and all the devotees, and chanting the bhakti yogis. In a trance you dance the divine romance of Rasa Lita with Radharani. In the Bhagavad Gita you teach us bhakti. Your divine pastimes are so sublime, they refresh the heart and purify the mind. They give relief just like the monsoon after the lingering heat. You lifted a mountain with your little finger, the sweet butter thief known as Baby Gopal, the killer of Kamsa, the lover of Radha. Your complexion's dark blue like the ocean. I offer my devotion with all of my emotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is called the Madhurastakam, about the sweetness of Krishna. Your lips are sweet, your face is sweet, your eyes are sweet, your smile is sweet, your heart is sweet. Your walking is sweet. Everything is completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. Your words are sweet. Your personality is sweet. Your garments are sweet. Your posture is sweet. Your movements are sweet. Your surroundings are sweet. Everything is completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. Your flute playing is sweet. Your footprints are sweet. Your hands are sweet. Your feet are sweet. Your dancing is sweet. Your friendship is sweet. Everything is completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. Your singing is sweet. Your drinking is sweet. Your eating is sweet. Your dreaming is sweet. Your rupa, your form is sweet. The tilak, the mark on your forehead is sweet. Everything is completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. Your deeds are sweet. Your conquests are sweet. Your thieving of hearts is sweet. Your loving relationships are sweet. The things that are offered to you are sweet. Your countenance is sweet. Everything is completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. Your necklace is sweet. Your flower garland is sweet. Your river Yamuna is sweet. Her rippling waves are sweet. Her waters are sweet. Her lotus flowers are sweet. Everything is completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. The gopis, your cowherd girlfriends, are sweet. Your leelas or pastimes are sweet. Your meetups are sweet. Your conquests are sweet. Your sidelong glances are sweet. Your manners are sweet. Everything is completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. The gopas, your cowherd boyfriends, are sweet. The cows are sweet. Your walking stick is sweet. Your unlimited creation is sweet. Your heroism is sweet. Your victories are sweet. Everything is completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. And this is the Shiksha Astakam in the original words of the poet Balabhacharya. Araram mararam 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 nayaram mararam asaram mararam ridiyam mararam gamaram mararam marare aripatera kadam mararam Vacharam mararam charidam mararam vasaram mararam vamitam mararam charidam mararam brahmatam mararam mararari patera kadam mararam Veno mararo reno marara panimano paro mararam netyam mararam sakyam mararam mararari patera kadam mararam Gita mararam pitam mararam bhaktam mararam sattam mararam rupam mararam tirakam mararam Madhuradi Patera Karam Madhuram. Karanam Madhuram Taranam Madhuram Haranam Madhuram 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 Pamitam Madhuram Samitam Madhuram. Madhuradi Patera Karam Madhuram. Munjamarada Mala Marada Yamana Manam Vichimadaram Vichimadaram Salilam Madaram Madhuradi Patera Karam Madhuram. Gopi Marada Lila Marada Yuktam Madhuram Muktam Madhuram Distam Madhuram Sistam Madhuram. Madhuradi Patera Karam Madhuram. Gopa Marada Gabo Madhuro Yastir Madhuram Sistir Madhuram Dalitam Madhuram Palitam Madhuram. Madhuradi Patera Karam Madhuram. Your lips are sweet, your face is sweet, your eyes are sweet, your heart is sweet. Your smile is sweet, your walking is sweet, everything's completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. Your words are sweet, your personality is sweet, your garments are sweet, your posture is sweet, your movements are sweet, your surroundings are sweet. Everything's completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. Your flute playing is sweet, your footprints are sweet, your hands are sweet, your feet are sweet, your friendship is sweet, your dancing is sweet, everything's completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. Your deeds are sweet, your conquests are sweet, your thieving of hearts is sweet, loving relationships are sweet, things that are offered you are sweet, your countenance is sweet, everything's completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. Your deeds are sweet, your conquests are sweet, your thieving of hearts is sweet, your loving relationships are sweet, the things that are offered you are sweet, your countenance is sweet, everything's completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. Repeated. Your necklace is sweet, your flower garland is sweet, your river, your moon is sweet, her rippling waves are sweet, her waters are sweet, her lotus flowers are sweet, everything's completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. The gopis are sweet, your cowherd girlfriends, your leelas are sweet, your meetups are sweet, your adventures are sweet, your sidelong glances are sweet, your manners are sweet, everything's completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. The gopis, your cowherd boyfriends are sweet, the cows are sweet, your walking stick is sweet, your unlimited creation is sweet, your heroism is sweet, your victories are sweet, everything's completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. In the Bhagavad Gita song of the Supreme, Krishna streams to his team member Arjuna, the cream of all the devotees. Arjuna, the things you do every day, the gifts you give, and every tasty veggie dish, offer them to me with love and just see your soul enriched. A cup of water makes me smile, though I could drink an ocean. Flower, fruit, and leaf are fine if they're offered in devotion. Keeping me in the center, your karma will never interfere, because loving devotional service is the dharma of the spiritual atmosphere. I don't play any favorites. Everyone gets what they desire, so if someone longs for me in bhakti, I'm naturally inspired. Even if you mess up a time or two, I won't make any complaint. Just rise up again. You can still shine like a saint. The undiluted souls, Mahatmas, know reality, and feeling my protection, the flow of their affection comes to me. They sing my sacred names with voices sweet and stake their rightful claims at my lotus feet. I see, maintain, and shelter all. I am the seed of everything. I'm everyone's best friend. I'm the beginning, the middle, and the end. Arjuna, tell the people boldly, Krishna's devotee never dies, men and women, high and lowly, everybody's equal in my eye. Anyone who comes to me will never be denied. Bhakti Yoga will set you free. Think of me, become my devotee, and you will live with me eternally. Back to the great transcendental adventure. And by the way, as Bhagavad was talking, it triggered a few memories. That shop, that storefront of Little Lonsdale Street, the day that the ladies, headed up by Bobby, pulled the Jagannath canopy out to save the sewing shop ladies who had to jump from, I don't know if you were listening earlier, but when they were making the canopies for Lord Jagannath's Chariot Festival, the building next door to us in downtown Melbourne caught fire. And the ladies who were in a sewing factory up on the 5th floor couldn't go down the staircase because there were flames. So with great, resourcefulness, the devotee ladies pulled out these big canopies for Lord Jagannath, stretched them out. They drafted a few strong guys who were walking by in the street. And so it created a net, and these ladies jumped down from the 5th floor into the net and saved their lives. Well, that was the day before the Rath Yatra Festival in Melbourne. And so on the morning of the festival, these big newspaper headlines came out that Lord Jagannath's canopy has saved the day. We had a huge crowd show up for the festival on that particular day. It was good advertising. Also, I have to tell you that one memory I have about the shop on Little Lonsdale Street, I don't remember us taking people back to the Sunday feast in St. Kilda. I think we had the Sunday feast downtown because it was centrally located, easy to reach. And sometimes after the Sunday feast, we'd have a puppet show. One day, my Bobby had made these puppets. They're paper mache, and they're made with many, many, many multi-layers about the Brikasura, the head-touching Vritrasura, the head-touching demon. He'd a benediction from Lord Shiva that whoever's head he would touch, the head would split into 1,000 pieces. And so having received the boon, first person he wanted to try it on was Lord Shiva himself, which wasn't very grateful of him. So he was chasing Lord Shiva all over the universe. And then finally, Krishna appears and sweet talks the demon into touching his own head, at which point its own head explodes. We thought we'd do that as a puppet show. Bhagavad made this thick-jowled, really crude-looking, mustached puppet of Vritrasura with many, many, many layers of paper mache. And there was a little bit of a hollow space in the middle. And so when it came time, and I was doing the puppets, and I think Bobby was beside me. So when it came, and what we'd done is we drilled a little hole in the back of his head, and just one of those small firecrackers, they're not very big. They're just very small. In fact, you use generally whole strings of them, but we just had one. But we figured because of the confined space and the pressure that when the firecracker went off inside that confined space, it would have a tremendous explosive effect. But we couldn't afford to experiment with it. We couldn't afford to do a dress rehearsal because it had taken my Bobby, days and days to make this puppet. And so this was going to be our first time live with an audience of about 70 people. And we did it when they were finishing their meals. We dimmed the lights, set up the puppet show, and they were still kind of finishing off of their plates, sitting cross-legged on this floor, eating and watching this puppet show go on. So when it came time for Brikasura to touch his head and the head to explode, I didn't want to have my hand, obviously, up inside there. So I held the puppet up with a stick. We had the firecracker in the back, and we had a long taper. And so I looked up, I lit the fuse, and then I ducked, okay? And we both ducked, and it was a semi-lit, sort of darkened room, and I heard a double explosion, sort of, and I had sort of expected that there would be a loud shout of surprise and delight and acclaim from the audience, but not a sound. It was silent as a tomb. My first thought was, oh my gosh, the head must not have exploded. It must be there intact, and people are wondering, what is the point? What's the idea of this and all like that? And I looked up to see what had happened to the head. And what I saw was the whole front of the head was missing. Just from the ears up, it was gone. And there was still, like after 5 or 10, there was still smoke emanating from it. And why the people were silent was they were stunned. They actually just didn't know what to do. There were pieces of that puppet's paper mache head everywhere, just like confetti. It rested in their hair. It rested in their plates of food. So there was this pause of about 20 seconds of total silence during which the attendees had to process what had just happened there. And after that happened, then they started cheering and yelling and going wild out of appreciation. Even though it was our first attempt and we hadn't had the latitude to test it out beforehand, it was wildly successful. It worked perfectly without any hitch. Another thing I remember about that storefront, it was more than a storefront. It was a storefront in the front, but there was a big hall in the back. We had this fellow coming for a few weeks. And then one day I'm sitting on the floor eating my food, and he comes and he sits in front of me. And he says, I've been coming a few weeks. I think I want to join. And when you hear that, you kind of think, maybe yes, maybe no. Like I'll believe that when I see it. And so I talked to him. I felt like to some extent I was just going through the motions because, you know, in case he had second thoughts or cold feet or whatever. So anyway, we talked to him, and I told him where the St. Kilda residential facility was, and we arranged a day that he would quit his job, and he would come by maybe 4 or 5 days hence. Well, true to his word, he did show up exactly when he said he was going to show up. He stayed. He did everything without flaw, chanted his rounds, got up early, went on Sankirtan. He became a model devotee. He was absolutely 150% as good as his word. Why am I telling this story? Because a similar story could probably be told about a dozen people. Well, the reason that sticks in my mind particularly was that person became Ramai Swami, who is initiating guru and GBC of Australia. For what it's worth, there you go. You can take that back to him. What other recollection I have? Okay, I'll read a section here, and then we'll finish up with one final song here in the Krishna Lite show. This is just a short paragraph, but it's so true. They're frangipanis, little tiny yellow and beige plants that just grow wild all over Australia. And so hence this short paragraph. A notable feature of Prabhupada's 1973 visit to Australia was the abundance of fragrant frangipani blooms. Devotees in Sydney regularly picked the cream and yellow or cream and pink flowers to be offered to the deities and to Srila Prabhupada. Since the flowers hardly grew in Melbourne's cooler climate, Jayadama regularly sent boxes of flowers to the Melbourne temple during Prabhupada's stay there. Or maybe they didn't grow in Melbourne, but I think they were profuse in Sydney. And that triggered the last thing I wanted to share with you. It's just 2 days before Janmashtami now. We're all getting in the mood to celebrate Lord Krishna's appearance day in Salt Lake City. It will be the main celebration. Spanish Fork this afternoon at Sunday Feast will have a bathing ceremony. But the big one is in Salt Lake City on Tuesday. So that reminded me of one Janmashtami that we celebrate in Australia in the old St. Kilda temple building. Bhai Bobby read about the altar in the temple room. And in addition to what she said, there was a railing separating the temple room from the deity room. And the railing it wasn't very high. You could step over it. It's probably not more than 2 feet high. And it had a broad base. It had a broad top, maybe it was 4 inches across the top. And then there was a bell hanging from the wall to the side so that when you opened the deities, you could ring the bell as well as blow the conch shell. We had kirtan all day long. If we weren't doing kirtan, we were doing our japa. We generally do 64 rounds on that day. And the kirtans were amazing because Madhavisa was a great kirtan leader. And one devotee named Dwarpayana, he would play his guitar. That just seemed to add a little something extra to the kirtans. Dwarpayana would get to playing his guitar so intently that on this particular occasion, one string broke, and about an hour later, another string broke. Then about an hour later, another string broke. So I remember as we approached the midnight hour, a couple of strange things happened that stuck in my mind. This is probably 50 years ago, but I still remember Dwarpayana playing his guitar with just 2 strings left. Krishna appeared at midnight in the prison house of Kamsa. That's why the festival culminates at midnight. So at midnight, when the curtains were dramatically opened, and the kirtan, which had been going on all day, just gotten better and better, we were getting higher and higher and higher, even ramped it up further, if you can imagine that, with the dramatic opening of the curtains in the midnight arti. I'll never forget Sanjaya, who himself was about 65 years old. He was the oldest member of our congregation. He lived in the temple with the rest of us. No sooner had the arti started than this 65-year-old man stood up. He stepped up in his bare feet and stood on the railing during the entire arti and rang the bell with one hand. And I think the really striking thing about it was not so much that here was a 65-year-old man standing on top of the railing ringing the bell for 20 minutes, but that our mood was such that nobody thought that was unusual, or nobody noted it as anything particularly strange or eccentric. That was how euphoric each and every one of us was. In any case, I haven't read anything to you today because that just triggered so many memories in and of itself, and that'll have to do in place of the reading. So let's finish here with a song. Let's see if I can cue it up here. Let's finish here with a song by MC Yogi. It's called, hold on a second. It's called Give Love, Give Love, Give Love Away. All right. This will conclude our 15th segment of the Krishna Lite Show. Actually, there's a verse that comes before MC Yogi's that I just tacked on, which I add onto it in the context of a live color festival situation where I'm the MC of the announcer. So the first verse, which is my own verse, is, hey, color peeps gathered all together. Doesn't matter your station, doesn't matter the time or the weather. We gathered to love one another, share the planet respectfully. We all sisters and brothers celebrate our interdependence, giving out lots of free hugs, tucking each other to our chests. We don't need no drink or drugs to believe that we are the best. You are great beyond measure. Each and every one of you are precious living treasure. Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love. Give love away. You want to say that with me? Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. If you want love, you got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Let's try it once more. Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. If you want love, you got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Okay. Hush, little darling, don't you cry. Every little thing's going to be all right. Don't you worry. Don't you be afraid. Every little thing's going to be okay. Open up your heart and break the chains. Turn the key and open the cage. Love will always find a way. Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. You want love, gotta give love. Give love. Give love away. Love is the best medicine. I shine like Edison whenever I let it in. Love is the power that transforms every flower, opens every flower, transforms this coward into a champion. When you're lost, love is sent to remind you, offering signs and providing guidance. Love is infinite, unlimited, and timeless. Just look inside your heart is where you'll find it. Always remember, never forget, if you want love, you got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Love is the answer. Love is the key. Love is the glue between you and me. Just open up your eyes and you will see. Love is the thing that sets us free. Love is the remedy. Love is the cure. Love is the only thing that will stop the war. It's what everybody's looking for then. What in the world are you waiting for? Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. You want love. Got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Love to your father. Love to your brother. Love to your mother. Love to your sons and your daughters. Love to your sister and all your friends. Shine your love in all directions. Giving and receiving is just like breathing. Living to give love gives life meaning because love is righteous and it might just save the world from the global crisis. Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Throw your arms up if you know what the time is. Open up your heart and let it shine the brightest. Love is all we need to get by. Love is all we need to get high. Open up your wings and let your love fly. Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. You want love, got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Once more from the top, double time. Hush, little darling, don't you cry. Every little thing's going to be all right. Don't you worry. Don't you be afraid. Every little thing's going to be okay. Open up your heart and break the chains. Turn the key and open the cage. Love will always find a way. Always remember, never forget. What you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Love is the best medicine. I shine like Edison whenever I let in. Love is the power that opens every flower, transforms this coward into a champion. When you're lost, love is sent to remind you, offering signs and providing guidance. Love is infinite, unlimited, and timeless. Just look inside your heart is where you'll find it. Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Love to your father, love to your mother, love to your brother, love to your sons and your daughters, love to your sister and all your friends. Shine your love in all directions. Giving and receiving is just like breathing. Living to give love gives life meaning because love is righteous and it might just save the world from the global crisis. Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Love is the answer. Love is the key. Love is the glue between you and me. Open up your eyes and you will see. Love is the thing that sets us free. Love is the remedy. Love is the cure. Love is the only thing that will stop the war. It's what everybody's looking for. Then what in the world are you waiting for? Always remember, never forget, what you give, what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love. Give love away. You want love, you got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Throw your arms up if you know what the time is. Open up your heart and let it shine the brightest. Love is all we need to get by. Love is all we need to get high. Open up your wings and let your love fly. Always remember, never forget, what you give, what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. That concludes what I think is the 16th episode of Krishna Lite Show. It might be the 17th. I'll get it all straightened out after we sign off here, but we'd like to thank you for being with us. Hope you enjoyed our songs as well as it really was a great transcendental adventure in Australia. It was a special time of our lives, which you'll never forget. And hopefully by sharing it, it'll inspire you also to do great things in your own life as well. This is our pre-Janmashtami show. We're broadcasting live from Spanish Fork, Utah. And on Tuesday this week, the 11th of August, we're going to have as gala as is possible under the conditions of wearing a mask and social distancing, as gala as possible, a Krishna birthday Janmashtami celebration at our Salt Lake City Temple, 965 East, 3370 South. If you're from Utah, hope you can drop by and say hello to us there for a little kirtan and some prasadam. Otherwise, wherever you may be in the world, go and visit your local Krishna temple. Their celebrations won't be up to par because these are abnormal times, but at least you'll associate with saintly people. Whatever chanting you do on that day, whatever darshan you get, whatever sacred food you taste, the benefits will be multiplied 1,000 times on this coming Tuesday, August 11th, Sri Krishna Janmashtami, 2020. Till we meet again, don't forget to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.